have my people. It's time for
Hello.
a minute to skim it. Oh my gosh, do you feel the world's crossing over right now? Because many of them do today. It's not your imagination. So many good books. We're going to get to it because, it's going to take longer than usual because there are about 20 million DC Future State books that came out. Why don't you get a couple of them? Let's start out strong with the big guns. Go. All right.
Wonder Woman Future State. So Future State stuff takes place after Metal has finished. So most of them. So I'm gonna actually start with.
Oh,
Superman.
you bait and switched.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with the
poor producer. We bait and switched. Sorry.
Because the Wonder Woman is just the Wonder Woman story. The Superman of Metropolis has 2 stories in it. The first one has to do with Superman, and then the second one has to do with Guardian and Mr. Miracle, which it's right down here, so that way you know exactly which one, which characters it deals with. For most of them, you just kind of have to jump in because you're not going to know what's going on beforehand, which is, kind of the point, I think.
Mm.
I'm not 100% sure how many are in each one, but it does have a checklist in the back, so you'll be able to see exactly which ones have 2 parts and which ones have 4 parts.
Oh yeah.
For the Wonder Woman, it's just the Wonder Woman. It doesn't have any featuring which other characters. So that's how you can tell. This one, she's a little bit different than your normal Wonder Woman, as you can tell.
Yara Flor, right? Yara Flor.
Yes.
I like her name a lot. It's fun to say.
It's a little bit different in the, it takes place in a more fantasy-based world, which I love.
Okay.
And I think that's all I really need to say about that one.
Yeah, most of these have got so much hype to them. Like everyone's been looking forward to Yara for a while.
Yeah.
That's the character you saw.
Yeah.
They had a little Future State kind of like free preview they put out last month.
Yes.
I see Don Arms and Kyle and Will and Milton all saying hi. Oh, you like the design? Yeah, Kyle,
I do too.
Kyle likes graphics because he has to do graphics all the time. All right. Resistance Reborns is an AWA Upshot book, which happens right between the first Resistance book and the volume 2 that's going to come out. There is something that AWA does that I love. They, in their books, often have small stories that are happening all in the same universe that probably tie to each other in some way, but you feel like you don't need to have known very much beforehand because they give you everything they need. And the little 4-page or 6-page stories are all put together in the same book. And in this one, there's every 6 pages is a new story about a different person that lives in this universe that you may not remember. In the first Resistance story, the whole first half of the book is about a pandemic that happens, in which the people that don't die from it end up having superpowers of some sort.
Yep. Some
of them make more sense than others. And so this is a new introduction of people that that make it through the big death is what they call it. So this, if you want to just jump into the universe for the first time, Resistance Reborn, you could totally do it. You don't need to know anything more than what I've just told you. It's really well drawn and written, and you care about the characters, even though you only have this small introduction to them. They're so good at writing character development that you will totally be able to buy into the universe. So try to pick up some AWA titles. I don't think there's been a single AWA title that I've not liked. It's high quality stuff.
Flash. Future State, The Flash.
You see his fun setup for you.
Um, So if you had been kind of in the loop with Flash within the death metal and a little bit right before with the was it Flash Forward?
No, yes, Flash Forward is right.
We saw a lot of the other Flashes come back into now.
Mm-hmm.
And in this book, we definitely see more of the other Flashes. There has been a little bit of, it's not really like, they're not really like fighting, but they don't all seem to be getting along as well as they usually do. So
more angst than usual, huh?
Maybe more tension than angst.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's not quite to the angst level.
Mm-hmm. They're not fighting each other.
Right. But I'm not a huge Flash fan, so I don't know all of the Flashes as well as.
Do we get Wally?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. As long as Wally and Barry are in there, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, that's a good.
It's kind of interesting how they're rolling out these books, because you end up with like Wonder Woman, which is a whole new character that we have never had before. And then you have things like Superman, which seems much more like this is from ours, or at least ours adjacent, if you like the metal stuff. All right. Here's one of those books that like crosses over into the real world. Sleeping Beauties, number 5. And I know what you're thinking. Sleeping Beauties number 4 just came out 2 weeks ago after being delayed. So I think this is what happened. They had a hiccup in the printing schedule. So now we end up with them nice and close. In the World of Sleeping Beauties, this is written by Stephen King and his son Owen. They have created this like crazy world in which women have been subjected to this weird new disease called Aurora, that if they fall asleep, they become covered in this weird cocoon that they're alive inside of, but that if you try to mess with them or wake them up, that they will try to kill you. And then they'll just lay back down and go to sleep. So it looks like we're going to end up with a world with only men in it, and all the women will be asleep in cocoons. And so in this issue, some of the guys, namely, there's like a guy who's in charge of the animal control, and another one of the guys that's just in the sheriff's department decided that their wise decision is to go to the prison and try to break out Evie Black, who is the one woman that looks like that she can sleep and not have anything happen to her, but she also seems very, very much to have other powers. I think that she's related to our other Man in Black from the Stephen King universe, the Walking Dude, aka Randall Flagg, also known as Black. So I might be wrong, but she seems to have a lot of extra powers that she can use. And so that kind of like is the main gist of what's going on in that book. And the fun part about it is pay close attention, because one of them steals the warden's phone. And you can see on the warden's phone some names of people that own comic book stores that you might know. So it's kind of fun. It's a little Easter egg that I wasn't expecting to see, but it's there.
What do you Swamp Thing?
Robbie!
Yeah. So this one takes place, it's gotta be like hundreds of years later. It can't be like, I have no idea exactly how many, but Swamp Thing and a bunch of other plant people, for lack of better words, are on.
Makes sense.
They're looking for humans.
To
just,
what?
I don't know. That's just what.
For food?
No.
Okay.
No, Swamp Thing is specifically looking for the humans, but
okay. As far as we know, he does not eat people.
Yeah. I don't think he would. But they haven't been able to communicate well about why. That's
Oh.
all I'm really gonna say about it.
Oh,
because
it's a bad teaser, man.
Yeah.
Quit it.
That's why I have to tease you.
So good.
Yeah.
What is the concept of DC calling everything future state? So it's specifically so that you know that it's not attached to main universe, because they have books that are called
Right.
DCU, which is part of the main universe, and then they'll have stuff that's like the Black Label stuff that's supposedly not attached to the main universe. This is just a way of them saying this is not DCU, but and I don't want to call them what ifs either, because that doesn't feel right.
No.
These are things that are possibilities. These might be. These might come in attached, because that's also the way they started death metal. Death metal and Dark Knight's metal were neither one supposed to be attached to the main universe. And sure enough, they became part of the main universe stuff. So be ready for them to probably cross over. The things that work in these, you probably see them in main DCU. That's my guess. We'll start seeing those guys be permanent additions. All right. Mad Cave has this awesome series called Honor and Curse. This is number 7. In this universe is very much what you would expect from like some stuff that's based in the Orient. The main characters have what do they call them? I'm gonna get the right word for them. Hold on, it's on the very last page. But they're like spirit animals that are part of their religion, that are like animal gods that they don't necessarily control. Let me get the real word for them. I'm sorry, that I remember every single term that I read, but I don't. Shinto spirits. Thank you. So bad. Shinto spirits. And this is mostly about the journey of one of the main characters, who he has a Shinto spirit that's very dangerous and gets him into a lot of trouble. And he is trying to seek out someone to help him figure out what to do. And he gets told that he should be able to control his Shinto god, which is ridiculous. If he knew what his Shinto god looked like or what he did. Honor and Curse is a really great title from Mad Cave. You should go and get volume 1 of the trade paperback, because it is awesome.
From the pages of Dark Knight's death metal, Generations Shattered.
Speaking of.
Yeah. So it's all one story, but each part has a different artist, and it all kind of it works really, really well from what I skimmed, because I did have to skim this one because it's really long.
It's a lot of reading today.
It's a $10 book.
So lots of pages? 80-page giant, probably?
Probably. It is prestige format, so. I recommend reading this one right after you read the death metal, because it's not like, it doesn't really take place during death metal, if that makes sense. It's like one of the things that they did, like that show came after.
So far, everything that's been attached to anything that's been the death metal storyline, these little like one-shots they've been doing,
they've been so good.
Have been getting rave reviews.
Yeah.
For just being amazing stories.
It's got my boy Booster in here too. So.
And it's got the Booster Gold.
Yeah.
All right. Return of the Valkyries is a pretty awesome tie-in to King in Black. It has as a main character the new Valkyrie, which is Jane Foster, but it has ties to the original Valkyrie that you're used to seeing from Ragnarok. Basically, most of this issue takes place not in people's alive places, so HEL with 1 L, I think, and it starts out basically with we lost Century in the very first book of King in Black. He was totally killed by Null. So this is her going to the opposite side, the other side. I don't know if this is actually HEL, the single L, but he's dead. And so this is her trying to go and at least try to save his, I don't even know what you call it. It's not a soul. But anyway, it's really good reading. It's important for the Null storyline so you can see what's going on behind the scenes. It's terrifying. It's so funny because in this issue, they actually have like an ad for another one of the tie-ins to King in Black, which is the Black Knight. In the Black Knight, it actually has him so he has a sword through the center of someone important's head. So I don't know if that's foreboding or tease or if that's all, like the cake is a lie. I don't know, but it looked awesome.
And of course, Death Metal number 7, the last issue of the Death Metal. Last issue we saw Wonder Woman, and she became this huge gold-colored version of herself, ginormous, and she and the also giant Batman who left were about to I just lost my train of thought. They're about to fight, and so in this issue we see the last little bit of banter before they start fighting, and it broke my brain. This issue broke me. I was reading it, and Jen was here when I was reading it, and you heard all my noises.
I always gauge Hannah's enjoyment of a book by how many gasps she lets out while she's reading it.
It was a lot.
Yeah. So you guys have probably also heard a lot of buzz about this issue online. I think that there's some, is it first appearance bill or last appearance bill? There's something big that happens in this issue.
I'm not going to say anything about it because
there's a reason why you should get this issue
early
in the morning from your local comic shop.
Do not miss this one.
It's good. It's so pretty. It's a good tease.
That's also such a pretty cover.
That's an actual, it follows the same as usual where it's got the nice metallic cover. This is an awesome book that I picked up from the non-traditional Kickstarter. I like picking up Kickstarter because oftentimes by supporting small presses Kickstarter, those guys get recognized enough that they get picked up by small publishers, and then they get to see their books actually being published. So if you want to know why support a Kickstarter, do it there, and then pick it up also from your local comic shop when it shows up with a new fancy dancy cover from, a really like gutsy self-publisher. Trouble with Love is awesome. It is from the point of view of a superhero who finds himself being confronted by his son and goes through this mental anguish of a journey trying to explain to his son why he left his son's mom. So it isn't like a happy, necessary story as a journey because it's really deals with breaking up of families. It just happens to be couched in like the dad is a superhero, but it's way more public. It's very heartbreaking, but it's an honest story told by somebody who had that happen in their personal life. So it's not without, it's not fantasy in that way, that it's really dealing with actual emotions. So if you like having a book with some real storytelling and make you think deeply about all the points of view in those situations, it's a really, really good book. Well written, great art. Give it a try. Been waiting for this one. Scoot
from Scout. This is Sengi and Tembo. And so this is Sengi and this is Tembo. And I think Sengi is an elephant shrew, but I could be wrong about that. I think. And of course, Tembo is an elephant. So it kind of is a little bit more educational than I thought.
Cool.
Elephant shrews, I think that's what Sengi is. They have their little paths that they make in the grass that they stick to their paths to get to food and water and all that kind of stuff, and they have to keep it clean. So
I think I've seen like a Nova on these things. This sounds familiar.
yeah. So when Tembo decides that he's just going to unburden his oh goodness, what's the word for the pack of elephants? I can't remember. We'll just say pack. Because he's getting old. And totally gets all up in Sengi's place where he lives.
Personal space.
Yeah, all of his personal space. They have to figure out how to get along. So I hope they can.
Yeah, it's the very first in the line of Scoot titles from Scout, which are an all ages book, which is not to mean that it's not for adults also.
No, it's very good.
So support their initiative to have this new line of books, which you know that I love because I love all ages books very much.
Me too.
So yeah, there's these, and I think there's some variants. There's also an ash can out there somewhere. All right, I'll go to it. Star Wars High Republic. I don't even know if I really need to tell you guys anything about this book. The hype is so big for this book.
Yeah.
You should go and track down, I think 2 days ago, they released a trailer, like a movie kind of trailer for the book that kind of gives it's not really a spoiler at the end, but it lets you know where they're headed, because that actually isn't discussed in this issue at all. It just introduces this character here, which I think her name is Reeve. And she's really cool. She's actually in this book taking her final test before she gets to be a Jedi. This story takes place ahead of the number one of the movies. So Phantom Menace, it's up and ahead of that. So you can put it in its place of significance. This is as close as we've had probably to a new universe for Star Wars in a long time, because they haven't really touched on this except for in the extra canon stuff, Legacy and Knights of the Old Republic and those kinds of things. So this, if you're ever going to jump into the Star Wars universe, this is the time. And also because of this book releasing, every single Star Wars title that has any kind of crossover possibilities in it to this or any show that's going to be showing up at Disney Plus has been flying out the door. So back issues for Star Wars are really tough right now. So if you're a collector, don't wait.
Yeah.
They will be gone. Yeah. It's Harley.
Harley Quinn. So
Harley Quinn here. There you go. Harley.
Okay, so we didn't see a whole lot of Harley towards the end of Death Metal. And this kind of explains why. She was arrested again.
Never. She's an angel.
But in order to potentially get some more normal, I mean, not really freedoms, but like, to have less, what's the one I'm thinking of?
Is it a restriction?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. To have less restrictions of what she can do, or, where she always hated the jumpsuit, of course. I mean, orange is not her color, so she has to help the detectives and the other officers, which of course, she doesn't want to do. She never wants to. But we've also, seen her help the police before. So, yeah, that's pretty much the baseline for it. I want to say that there's like some new character designs for other characters as well that I didn't see in the preview.
Oh.
So yeah, there's some exciting ones. And there's some really funny dialogue in it. But of course it's Harley, so
yeah, it has to have it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna knock 'em dead. Number 2. Elliot Rahal is just like continuing to kill it with his awesome writing. In the first issue of Knock 'em Dead, the main character who had designs on always wanting to be like a comedian, but he's kind of failing at life a little bit. His sister takes care of him, and she's not doing great in her personal life, especially at the beginning of this book where just like the world's kind of crashing down on her because she has all the bills from her brother. Her brother almost died, or maybe died. He died in an accident, and now she's facing the bills and finds herself jobless. But he still has this dream of being a comedian. And the thing that you need to know about the book is that he is not only seeing, he doesn't see himself any longer in the mirror, he sees something else. So something has come back with him from his brush with death. Will this brush with death entity make him funnier? We still don't know. What I love very much about this book is that since it's basically based in comedy, you think that Elliot's going to have to write a bunch of comedy for this guy to say, but it's not true. Every time this guy gets up to do comedy, all it has is what he says is this little squiggly line, and then it has a picture of an eggplant.
The eggplant emoji?
Yeah, eggplant emoji. So that's whatever he's telling his joke about is every single time it's squiggly lines and an eggplant emoji. So
you know what kind of jokes he's telling.
Off color jokes.
Yeah.
So it's
not family friendly at all.
Well, I'm interested to see what happens next.
Also not funny because clearly he would have some other material.
He's gonna kill it. There it is. Eggplant.
All right. Scout's Honor, also from Aftershock. I remember seeing the preview for it, and I was like, oh, I want to read that one. So, this takes place in Fort Collins, Colorado, and the first couple pages take place directly after the Fort Collins has been pretty much destroyed by bombs, nukes, all that.
This is the end of world situation that happens in this book.
Yes. And then after that, it takes place 160 years into the future, where all of the males are in this. It's like the Boy Scouts, but not quite. It's a little bit different, and they follow the seven rules or laws. It's pretty much religiously. And this is Kit, and Kit is I can't remember how old Kit is, but teenager who wants to move on to it's not an Eagle Scout, but it's like Eagle something. It's something close, but not quite Eagle Scout. And then you find out something about Kit that I'm not going to say anything about, but it blew my mind. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, the pitch for that book is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, how to describe this glorious book? Ninja nuns. I mean, like in my mind, I was thinking, great. I'll read this book and then I'll kind of roll my eyes at it because there's so many books out there that have been made famous by their connecting, ninjas that have, superpowers, like Archer and Armstrong, Archer's foster sister or stepsister or whatever is a part of a secret warrior ninja nun society, and warrior nun Ariella has been popular recently. So I just kind of like, and I don't know, what can you do with this? Doesn't make any sense. But this is approached very honestly in that there really are a set of 3 ninja nuns. They take themselves very seriously in that they don't make fun of religion. They really do they like quote scripture, but it doesn't feel like a religious book in that way, that they're not trying to preach at you. They're just saying that their power comes from here and that's the way they're going to go about it. But the situations that are in this book, they tell them in little mini stories. One takes place at they go to like Comic-Con. They have other instances where they're actually, called upon to do their duty. Some of them, they're all a little bit funny, but I love when people like can find themselves comfortable to write in a universe and not make fun of the basis of a religion to do it, but to make fun of the people that are doing the things, if that makes any sense. So embrace it. It is hilarious and awesome and good.
All right. So the Last Witch. You're probably gonna need to look up how to say some Irish names for this one. This is.
Is one of them Siobhan?
No.
Oh,
no,
because I know how to do that one.
This is Saoirse, like Saoirse Ronan, and this is Brom, and they are brother and sister, and it is her birthday. She is turning 12, and her grandma told her that when she turns 12, she should have an adventure. So,
doesn't everyone when they're 12?
Right. So there is I guess I'm gonna call it a tale because it's not just a rumor. It's been passed around for a while that there is a witch that lives in a tower past the hedge, and so
obviously a specific hedge.
Yeah. What else are you gonna choose for your adventure when you're turning 12, right?
Just gonna go past the hedge in the backyard. That's as far as I'm going. So is it about her trying to find the witch?
A little bit. This one kind of sets you up for. She does make it past the hedge, but I'm not going to say anything about that part. It just gives you a lot more backstory first.
Okay.
And some family relationships as well.
Cool. It looks adorbs.
It is. I love it already.
All right, this is the Eternals. Just like many other Marvel properties that make it onto the big screen, everyone pretends like they know all about it after they watched the movie, but they didn't know anything. When you walked into Ant-Man, you didn't know anything. You may have known his real name, and that was about it, because it was a character that either you loved and you were totally all in, or was fringe to you, which is for many of us it was. So Eternals, I believe, is like that for most of us. We probably could tell you that we know the name Eternals, but nothing else about that universe. I'm one of those people, and I've been in comics since 1992. But it turns out there are a group of beings that are eternal. They can die. Absolutely, they can die, but they are always reborn back to, not necessarily in their previous body form. I don't know if they get to decide or if the gods that be get to. They'll be very clear to tell you that they are not gods, although they're totally confused with gods all the time. And you'll get introduced to them. It has a really nice chart in the inside to tell you where they might be from. In this issue, you get to see one eternal being reborn, and another one does, and that other one comes back in a different form than everyone's used to, and they're kind of confused by the form that this eternal takes. And they end up traveling to multiple different, I guess, planets or planes on a quest. So really pretty. It's a Kieran Gillian and Asad Rabiq.
Oh, of course.
So jump in. It's a good place to kind of like get used to maybe some of that universe before the movie drops. So we're gonna both do this one.
Yep, we both read it because we're hooked. We can't not read it at this point. You want to go first?
I will set it up by, so if you didn't jump into Donny Cates' universe of crossover, you should absolutely, because I think it's the most important book that's been written in a very long time. The premise is that all of comic book non-reality became reality and dropped down on the Earth.
Specifically in Denver.
In Denver, caused huge panic. The humans didn't know what to do about it, so they decided they just build a huge dome over where these superheroes and villains and everything else started showing up. And so they even put some of them in prison in this walled-off domed city. But the problem is that there are also some actual human beings that got stuck in there, and they've been completely cut off.
Right.
So there's no going back or forth. And there's a little girl who is actually a cartoon girl that came when the crossover happened, and she ended up being found and they're trying to help put her back together with her family. It's a comic book owner and his employee who dresses up like a superhero all the time. I don't know if she understands what kind of danger she's putting herself in, because they're universally distrusted, and
she likes cosplay. I mean,
And I will tell you that somewhere on my board behind me, there is a book that's tied to something that happens in the crossover book. Would you like to add?
We've also seen mentions of previous issues. We've also seen mentions of pretty much every writer and artist and a little bit of everything, publishers and all by name. There's
that continues in this book.
Yep.
It's as if Donny got blessed by the comic gods, and they all said, "Sure, you can use whatever you want from any property."
It's Donny Cates, though, so of course, why would they tell him no?
Don't say no to Donny, because what he does is brilliant work.
Yeah.
So what I figured out from this book is that probably you should go and find everything that Donny's ever worked on, because you are going.
Yes, you are going to see everything that he's worked on, whether it's specific characters or mentions.
You're also going to see everything that probably Donny has ever liked.
Because for sure.
There's a character that shows up in this book that was once previously believed to be a different character that he dropped in a different issue. So prepare to have your mind exploded.
And then if you really like crossover and want some merch, his website's in the back. Perfect. So, yeah. Yep. And I know his dad is having surgery today, so.
Oh, much love. I'm sorry. I didn't know that part.
I saw it on Twitter today. Or maybe he had a surgery today and there's one more tomorrow.
Books that I could not get to read because there was so much stuff that came out this week.
There's so much.
Is Thor number 11. It looks like he's fighting a dragon on the front cover. We'll see. Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 22. Who's that character on the front? Probably should read it and find out. Amazing Spider-Man 56 had a huge thing that happened in 55. It's killing me not to know what's happening in this book that's in my hand right now, so I apologize. I want to open that up right now. That's right. And it got Symbiote Spider-Man, which is tied into the King in Black. What's going on in this cover? Hey, there's a bunch of really great stuff to read this week. And it'll take you a while to make it through it. But as last week kind of felt like a skip week. There was less things going on. They were just letting you save up your money for this week. That's basically what they were doing. All right. That is all we have time for this minute to skim it. You have anything else to say?
Shanice's cosplay of her was amazing.
Yeah. We have a coworker that can do that character.
I think that's about it.
Also, I will tell you, just because we like to give these kind of like notices to people, the Swamp Thing Future State was allocated. So
Yeah.
if you are interested in that, you should contact your local comic shop pretty early tomorrow so you can make sure to get a copy. It's not their fault. It was just something that no matter what they ordered, they're only getting 85% of their order. That's just, we saw that industry wide. I don't know if it was a printing problem or what happened, but don't be mean to them. High Republic also is a super high demand book. With many of the issues. I even think that the main cover issue is worth $15 on the secondary market. So just be aware that there's going to be super high demand for that book, and there might not be as much supply. I think probably people were smart enough to buy many copies. And for crossover, the McFarlane cover has 8 different secret variants in which the character on the front is holding a different book in every one. So if you're a completist, good luck. And it's gonna be a hard look, but they exist, so you can go hunt them down. It's a lot of fun.
Also, there's a bunch of great trades out this week. Join the Future being one of them.
Yes,
very
excited about Join the Future. That is Zach Kaplan's awesome book through Aftershock, which follows a world in which the big cities rule supreme. And if you don't move into one, they have a way of very much strongly suggesting that your small town may not exist anymore because you need to choose a big town to go and be in so that their numbers can be boosted on social media. I'm not lying. That's really the way the world is written. And it's awesome. We have our main character is a young lady who just bucks the system. We love her.
Yep.
All right, everybody. We love you. And thank you so much for coming and joining us as we kind of give you a spoiler-free look at what's coming out tomorrow. If you are hunting for a local comic shop near you, try comicshoplocator.com. Sorry. And support your local comic shop. If you have many in your area, you might tomorrow have to go to many of them to try to complete your sets of things. Go and say hi to everybody. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.